Welcome to the Penny Bloom Podcast. Ain't another place that has got more bombast. Romp past your mom, dad's listening to Tomcats. Talking everything that make you sad. We don't want that. We're here to make you smile. Put your mind at ease. Peace, love, and bloom, and always praise Keanu Reeves. This what we about. This some weeding now. We'll talk until we can't no more, and then we peacing out. Alright, let's go. Penny Bloom Podcast. It's the Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast. It's the Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast.
Hello, everybody, and welcome in to another episode of the Penny Bloom Podcast. It is I, Colton Robertson, and you are back for the round of 32 in this here Marvel movie tournament. And don't let that title confuse you. It's not just movies; it's also TV. You just needed the hook, line, and sinker. You know, you needed the catchy sounding name. I can't be like Marvel movie and shows tournament. It just doesn't flow off the tongue like Marvel movie tournament does. I am joined by Joseph George. What's up, homie?
What up? What up? Thanks for having me. Always a pleasure.
Always a pleasure to have you. You know, we're here to talk the round of 32 in our Marvel movie tournament. We did the round of 64 part 1 and 2. So if you're here for the first time, go ahead and check those out. We've got some interesting results back from our Twitter polls as to what is superior in our round of 64, and we've got a few differences. Like the general public voted Captain America Civil War past Hawkeye by a wide margin, which we voted Hawkeye through rather easily, if I remember correctly. Let's see what else is new. Yes, Daredevil 2003, starring Ben Affleck, is defeating the Falcon and the Winter Soldier in our poll, which I just gotta think like that just feels racist.
Yeah, there's something wrong going there. It's either people are confusing the movie with the Netflix series, and then they get to the Netflix series poll down there, and then they realize that was the movie, but they've already voted and they can't change. Yeah. Or people are just, I don't know. I don't know about that one. that one was a pretty easy pass through.
Yeah, like we were like, yeah, this is definitely the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and it's not close. And then we got two more differences. They've got Spider-Man 3 beating Black Widow, which to follow up on the last one just feels a little like misogyny.
Yeah.
And then the last difference, which is understandable, I generally expected this one. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is losing to Captain America, the First Avenger, and we kind of justified that with the fact that neither of them would probably move on in the next round anyway. Let's go ahead and give Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. a win here. But yeah, generally, we're on the same page for the most part. Now, it's interesting. I made that graphic for the round of 64, and if you look at the movies in the background, I don't think I picked a single losing movie. I think I picked 24 of the 32 winners.
Damn.
So if someone had really paid attention, it's like heavy spoilers. I
guess it makes sense that you would just gravitate towards the
more popular ones, that's just kind of what I did. But I thought, and it turned out really dope. I was really proud of it. But
I think there's one.
There's one?
I think so. I'm trying to see where it is. But Fantastic Four, did it win or lose?
Oh no, Fantastic Four lost. Yes.
Damn. 1 out of 24 though.
There you go.
That's pretty fucking good.
That's pretty fucking good. But let's go ahead and do the round of 32. We'll start with our first matchup here. And I'm not sure if this will end up being a part 1 and part 2. Depends on how long it goes. But we'll start with the part 1 side of things. That would coincide with the round of 64. 1 seed, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse versus 9 seed, Hawkeye.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Hawkeye won in the first round, defeating Captain America Civil War, and the people generally disagreed with it, and I can confidently say neither of them would have made it past the second round.
Yep. One of the best comic book movies ever made. This is a pretty easy decision here. But got to give Hawkeye its love for being the show that I think surprised me the most out of any Marvel show.
100%. I definitely didn't expect what we got out of that show. I was. If you go listen to our previous episodes prior to Hawkeye and we talked about Hawkeye at all, I was like, I'm not fucking excited for Hawkeye. In fact, I might not even watch Hawkeye. I mean, obviously, I was always going to watch Hawkeye. It's MCU, and it's going to add to the story. It's going to add to the narrative. I got to watch. I got to know what's happening. But the show was much, much better than I anticipated. It enhanced Clint Barton's character in a way that I didn't anticipate, a way that I certainly didn't think was going to happen. And the introduction to Kate Bishop, along with her forming a connection with Yelena Belova for the future of Marvel, it's a great setup. I mean, Kingpin and Maya Lopez, that whole side of the story.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we're heading in a direction where it feels more and more like we're going to get like this Marvel Knights, Midnight Suns adaptation, sort of, with Daredevil, Echo, Moon Knight, like this
side of the universe. You see the Moon Knight suit leak?
Well, did you see that the trailer dropped?
For real?
Yeah, it's coming out.
So the suit leaked, and then they're just like, "Oh fuck, trailer."
Yeah, March 30th. March 30th is the official premiere date.
Let's go. March 30th.
Yeah.
Let me add that in because it was in the sheet. I have all the release dates on there. Gotta add that one in. It was to be announced, but now it is not. That is
March
nice.
30th, 2022.
Oh, nice.
So generally, the way that I take that is that the Book of Boba will conclude. The Moon Knight will pick up, and then after Moon Knight, I think we can expect Kenobi in the summer. May the 4th.
Mm-hmm.
Kenobi's going to get a May the 4th premiere.
I think, isn't Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, or is that the 6th?
The 6th. That's a couple days after the 4th, but
oh wait,
I think
it might be on the 4th. Is the 4th? Wow,
it is the 4th.
Interesting. So, I think, wow, I wouldn't have thought Marvel would have done that. Having just owning, having Disney, like, you think
Doctor
there
Strange
would be
Multiverse
something.
of Madness's release date is the 4th.
Well, this says the 4th and this says the 6th. I'm seeing both of them.
Because the 6th is the Friday. The 4th is a Wednesday. And Fridays are typically movie release dates. But it's also a holiday weekend because Cinco de Mayo is on Thursday. So I'm not sure if they release it a couple days early for holiday weekends in order to get those holiday weekend numbers. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure. That'll be interesting to see how it shakes out. But yeah, May the 4th, regardless, is a Wednesday, which is the day Disney Plus has been wanting to put out their content. So I think we can pretty much
just works out perfectly.
Kenobi is coming May the 4th.
Man.
At least something, a premiere.
That's definitely bound to happen.
But yeah, Hawkeye spun that conversation. That's the Disney Plus connection thread there. I'll just want to make that clear. But Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse does defeat Hawkeye ultimately. Sorry for the sidetracking. It happens. On to the next round.
What a matchup. Got
a couple of sequels here, and a 4 versus a 5, and Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 versus Deadpool 2. Now this is a match made in heaven right here. The pinnacle of superhero action comedy. This right alongside what I would say the Suicide Squad.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. But they
both
ran
of these movies do it very well.
Yeah.
I don't know. Ooh.
This is tough.
I mean, okay. I know where I am.
I mean, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 is a generally better movie, I think. Story-wise. But here's the thing. Deadpool 2 surprised me.
Mm-hmm.
Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 feels like it was the natural step for like a Guardians crew. Like this makes sense and the grander narrative and stuff. Deadpool 2 is just a unique movie But goddamn, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 is like the pinnacle of sci-fi. I gotta go Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Like, it's just like, it'd be blasphemous to put Deadpool 2 past Guardians of the Galaxy, but
it's kind of close. I don't know.
Closer than your initial thought, but when you think about it more, not quite as close as you thought.
Those movies just rock. Like, all those movies just rock.
They're too damn good.
Yeah, I can never. I don't know. Okay, yeah. I'd say Guardians is probably more rewatchable than Deadpool 2. You know,
they're both pretty rewatchable movies, but I think I've certainly watched Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 more than I've watched Deadpool 2.
Mm-hmm.
Interestingly enough, I haven't really been paying attention to this little distinction. I think this might be the first matchup we've had where I saw both the movies in theaters. I haven't been thinking about that, but I'm gonna go ahead and take a look-see real quick to see if that's been applicable to anywhere else. You know what? Shang-Chi and the Wolverine.
Captain Marvel and Dark Phoenix. Do you see
I did not catch Dark Phoenix in the theater.
Never mind.
Yeah, Shang-Chi and the Wolverine. That's another one. I saw both those in theater. The Amazing Spider-Man and Spider-Man Far From Home.
Mm-hmm.
Thor Ragnarok and the Avengers. So there's a few more of them than I thought. But that's cool. This is a fun little factoid. The Amazing Spider-Man 2 and Thor: The Dark World. Let's see. I think that's it. Yes, that is it. But yeah,
you saw X-Men Origins Wolverine in theaters?
I don't think I did. I don't think I did. I don't think I was like, that's going to be worth my money. I'm 8. I have better things to do. But yeah, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 ultimately defeats Deadpool 2. And it was not the first time we'd had a couple movies that I'd seen in theaters. But first time in the round of 32. And yeah, that was pretty easy. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 is the shit. But on to the next. We got a 3 seed versus a 6 seed, and WandaVision versus Iron Man.
The man responsible for Wanda's, parents
tragedy.
dying, sending her on her path. This is interesting. I love Iron Man. He was my guy. I love these movies, but it's not WandaVision.
WandaVision was special, man. That was special.
I mean, I think the Twitter poll, I'm curious on how this one will go out. I think Iron Man I think it'll still lose, but I think it'll be by a slim margin.
And I don't hold these in nearly the same esteem. Like it's not a close margin for me.
Yeah.
Like WandaVision's substantially more significant to me than Iron Man is. Just that era, and we're coming off the 1-year anniversary of WandaVision just a couple days ago, January 15th, when it premiered last year. That was just such a special fucking time. Like that week to week experience, it hasn't been matched by another Marvel show yet. And maybe it won't be, because it was the first one and it was littered in mystery and stuff. And that's it's like hard to top. Like I all the MCU Disney Plus shows, none of them have been quite as enjoyable to me as WandaVision was. So, I think WandaVision's an easy choice here over Iron Man.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. This one is not difficult. I just think people hold on to the first movie thing too much with Iron Man. It is still a great movie. I still love that movie, but it's not better than WandaVision.
No, it's not. It's just not. And I think that's pretty simple, pretty easy. But yeah, Tony Stark, I mean, obviously got it all started. He deserves his respect. He got his respect, Endgame, ultimately the seal that enhances the first Iron Man movie tenfold. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like just a couple callbacks that pull through, and it's like, you know what? This was a good ending for Tony. This is It's how it goes. But yeah, I think it was a good start, but it's not WandaVision.
Not even close.
All right, on to the next then.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go with a 2 versus a 7. And Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1 versus X-Men Days of Future Past. And again, not hard.
Not hard at all. Yeah, I mean, our love for the Guardians of the Galaxy movies is pretty strong. You know, it's weird that this one is the higher seed than Volume 2. Like, knowing that we kind of like Volume 2 more than 1. You know, we kind of arrived at that. But, like, you know.
It's interesting when I think about it, like, in comparison, because they do, like, they serve very different purposes. You know what I'm saying? Like, as far as the pure enjoyment of the movie I am watching, the second one is just a lot more fun. A lot, like, you can tell they had a little bit bigger of a budget. They got, like, James Gunn got to be more James Gunn. Like got to do what they wanted with that movie. And Guardians of the Galaxy, like, it's a great origin, like a great way to bring these characters together, and a very moving story by the end. But ultimately, I think, like, it loses a little steam on the Kree side of things. Like, I never really gave a shit about the Kree until Captain Marvel, like, added a dimension to them that wasn't just like an Imperial force that's out here to dominate. And it was interesting because, like, I remember starting Captain Marvel and being like, wait a fucking minute. These are the Kree. And she's on their side. I was like, well, I guess they're not blue. Is there, like, 2 different factions of Kree that are, like, the white Kree and the blue Kree? And it's like, or like the human Kree and the blue Kree. But they also had Gemma Chan, who was also Cersei in Eternals, as a blue Kree in Captain Marvel.
Yeah, they
I think her name's Minerva. So cool that Cersei, Gemma Chan, has a couple roles in the MCU, but
it was definitely confusing to begin with. That's for sure. But, you know, X-Men Days of Future Past, like, one of the most fun X-Men movies.
Oh, no doubt. Getting to see James McAvoy and Patrick Stewart together on screen, literally on screen together as Professor X, both of them at the same time, looking into each other's eyes, talking to each other. What the fuck?
Damn.
That's amazing.
But
it's not
Guardians crew, man.
It's just fucking fantastic.
And when the main character, when Star-Lord is, like, the worst one of them all, like, and he's not even that bad, like oh yeah, that's just pretty. You know, you got a good crew whenever the main guy has, like, I don't know. Like, I care about Star-Lord kind of the least out of all of them.
Got, like, one big, like, 2 big moments for me. Like, 2 moments where I'm like, that's right. You did it right. You know, like, whenever they're in space, Gamora's floating out there and he puts his shit on her and lets her breathe. And it's like, okay, that's a really good move. That, like, and then the other one is when Ego tells him, and that's why I killed your mother. You know, like, and his eyes go from, like, the galaxy to like back to his human eyes, and he says, "What did you just say?" Like I'm like, "Fuck yeah, buddy, do your shit." Like, but and
then he punches Thanos.
You get one in Guardians, and you get one in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. You know, like, he's guaranteed. Yeah. And that's the thing, is that he's generally the epitome of, like, a fuck up who has, like, one redeeming thing that keeps them in the loop. You know what I'm saying?
Like, I don't know. If he, like, didn't punch Thanos whenever they literally had the gauntlet, like, off, like, right, you know, like,
it's such a difficult part of Infinity War to watch. Like, I remember watching that in theater, like, oh, like, no.
Like, oh, man. But, like, I guess it makes sense to have him, like, be the one that
Peter
does
over there,
it,
like, I got it, and then, like, he didn't got it. But no, yeah, Peter Quill, ultimately, I think he's been one of the better written characters across the MCU in terms of story. Like, not a lot of characters have gotten the treatment that Peter Quill has gotten. And and I think that shines in why the Guardians movies are so fucking great. So yeah, it definitely takes out X-Men Days of Future Past here. And I believe we now only have one movie left with the X-Men, the official X-Men distinction.
Dang.
Coming up in a couple matchups. But let's go on to our next matchup. We got a 2 versus a 7. One of the more interesting matchups in a couple of movies that I hold in a very similar esteem. Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings and Spider-Man Homecoming. And, you know, further removed from Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, my head is like, it hasn't cooled on it. Like, I still think it's like far and away the best origin movie Marvel has done. But I'm not as like fucking floored by how amazing it was as I was the first couple times I watched it, which is the natural effect of these movies. That happens. But even so, it still beats Spider-Man Homecoming. Like, I just wanted to say that to show you, like, my head is cooled on Shang-Chi. However, this movie is still fucking gas. Like, it's still undoubtedly one of the best in the MCU.
Oh yeah, it's gas. Like, it is rewatchable to all hell. Like, it really never gets old. It's such a feel good movie too. Like, I guess Homecoming is, I don't know. I don't know. It's kind of like, damn, you kind of feel bad for like Vulture a little bit, but like not really. And it's like, you kind of feel good for Peter at the end, but
that's what's crazy. There ain't a single happy ending in the MCU trilogy for Spider-Man. Like, because Spider-Man Homecoming ends, and like he had to send his crush's dad to prison. She's not happy with him. She's leaving. And I mean, like, he's like, hey, I'm chilling, you know, like Spider-Man's in a good way, but it like not like, cause Tony invites him. He's like, you want to join the Avengers? And he's like, nah, you know, like I got my lane that I've carved out. And this is a similar thing for me as the Iron Man 3 ending, where like Iron Man 3 ends and you're like, cool. Tony seems to kind of be chill and done with the whole superhero life. And then Avengers Age of Ultron rolls around and he's more active than ever. And then Spider-Man Homecoming, he denies becoming Avenger. And then his next appearance is Infinity War, where he is just immediately dubbed an Avenger. And I guess, you know, what you need at the time. It makes sense. I
mean, he was kind of fighting the
big
battle to save the universe and all. Or half the universe.
You're an Avenger now.
Yeah, and then, I mean, yeah, the endings really get more devastating every time. You know, the first one is just like a dad and his girlfriend, but then it's kind of
Peter Parker is Spider-Man.
Yeah, and then it's like public enemy number 1 on Earth, and then now it's no one even knows who he is anymore. Like, geez, this dude just can't get a break. Like,
yeah,
I guess he's getting 3 more movies or whatever. You know, he's getting millions and millions of dollars. But
oh yeah, Tom Holland's doing fine, but Peter Parker's having a rough go of it.
Damn.
Yeah, I just can't wait for Peter Parker to meet Gwen Stacy at college and be like, oh. When he thinks like Andrew thinks to what Andrew said, I lost Gwen. She was my MJ. And he's gonna be like, oh.
Do I go for her?
Yeah, see, like, how do you handle that situation, you know? Like, he knows Toby's best friend Harry killed him. Tried to kill him and went crazy. He meets a Harry Osborn and he's like,
maybe I don't become friends with you. You know, maybe like your dad being a green goblin. Well, I guess maybe in this universe, Harry, you know, I don't know.
I'm still confused because there is still a behind the scenes photo with Oscar Isaac and Ethan Hawke, characters in Moon Knight, with Willem Dafoe on the set of Moon Knight. So, like, what the fuck going on there? Is it like the MCU reality's version of Norman Osborn isn't the Goblin yet and like still has that opportunity to become the Goblin? Like,
no. It is that only in Andrew Garfield's universe is the Goblin not William Dafoe. Yeah. It is a universal constant, besides Andrew's universe, that the Green Goblin must be William Dafoe. And from this point forward in all of time, even after William Dafoe's long gone, we will preserve him perfectly enough to keep the Green Goblin going.
Keep the Green Goblin alive.
It's just like
we must always be able to go Goblin mode.
Yeah, if we could have done that with like Heath Ledger, if we could have preserved Heath Ledger's Joker, we would have, but we might get there with William Dafoe.
It's crazy to think about how different of a movie The Dark Knight Rises would have been. Because I have the suspicion that it would have been Bane and Joker less so than Ra's al Ghul's daughter and Bane had Heath Ledger still been alive. Like the holder,
Bane would have definitely busted him out of jail. Like
he does a massive prison break, and with that, the Joker would come with it. So
damn.
Yeah, it could have been an even crazier movie than it was. Just interesting to think about. But R.I.P. to Heath Ledger, what a legend. But yeah, I think we gave Spider-Man: Homecoming its justice. It's sad to see it go, as it is one of my favorite Spider-Man movies overall. I just rewatched it again the other night, and God, it's sweet. It's just it is a treat for Spider-Man fans, and I can't even grasp why collectively Spider-Man fans had a problem with it. I
don't know. It's Spider-Man. Everyone's always got to have an off take or a take. That's whatever.
And that kind of applies to everything. It's Star Wars. It's anything Marvel. Anything anywhere that's coming out is going to have someone who's like, this isn't good, and then a bunch of people are going to be like, you know what? I agree.
Yep.
And it's like, you know what? Okay. Some people are just not going to like the shit that's getting put out, and that happens. But Spider-Man: Homecoming has the makings of a great Spider-Man movie. I don't get the gripes. But Shang-Chi is just a nearly perfect film.
Yes. Yeah, masterfully crafted. All the martial arts, all the fight scenes, all the even just the family storyline. Oh my God, everything about that movie is just awesome.
It's amazing.
We get the Sorcerer Supreme, not even knowing that he was the Sorcerer Supreme at the time. Just
right.
What's he doing? What's he doing fighting Abomination as
well? And it also makes it more clear why he would be the one to come and get Shang-Chi. It's not like a go and get Shang-Chi Wong. It's like, this is of the highest priority to the magic community. The Sorcerer Supreme needs to know what's happening here.
So why is he fighting Abomination, though? Is that just his off time?
It's interesting to think about. Well, he did they did make jokes about the cost of living at the Sanctum Sanctorum. He's probably making money to pay the rent.
Fair. Fair. Yeah, you walk up, no one
upkeep must be quite a bit.
If no one knows you're the Sorcerer Supreme and you're like, hey, I want to take on that giant lizard thing right there. I'll take him down. Everyone's gonna be like. It
also seemed like they were homies. They knew each other.
Oh, true.
They were. He was like, I told you to start pulling your punches. They're clearly fixing the fights.
So that's just how they keep the Sanctum open, dude. That's hilarious.
I think after Spider-Man: No Way Home, that's got to be the connection, at least for now. But that still doesn't explain why Abomination's around, why he's the guy that Wong is fighting with. And I hope that's more on the Val side of things. But regardless, I'm interested to see where that goes. Shang-Chi over Spider-Man: Homecoming. On to the next. We've got a 3 versus a 6 in The Falcon and the Winter Soldier versus Captain Marvel. Not quite as easy as these other ones have been to this point. I love The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I do. That shit makes me so happy.
Captain Marvel's a banger, though.
That Captain Marvel's a fucking good movie, dude. That's that's an exquisite film.
Young Nick Fury and Captain Marvel just going around. I could have that all day. Like, their interactions are just
Gold.
beautiful.
I love them together.
And then like her whole backstory, her Earth backstory and her Kree backstory is amazing. Like in the whole scroll part of the story is awesome. Like that revelation, that the first time like watching that was crazy.
Oh yeah, like that's an amazing twist in that movie. Like that's a holy shit, I did not see that coming. Like I was wondering how the fuck this worked, and this makes sense. It's all clicking together, but like I did not know how we were going to get here.
Now you have Monica, little Monica Rambeau, in there.
Maria and Carol together.
That's kind of a cool part about watching it in timeline order, because then you'd be like, oh my God, that's I've been seeing her in so long. It makes sense that she's old, older now or whatever. But
that's true. And I mean, like, it would give you the effect of what Captain Marvel's absence has been like. Like, she went off Earth and she was doing shit. Like, that's why she hasn't been here. She comes back for Infinity War. They're like, where have you been? Or Endgame. And they're like, where have you been? But dude, Sam Wilson. And I don't even, like, what's crazy is I don't think I even really need to say more. Like, Sam Wilson becoming Captain America was one of the single best arcs the MCU has presented before us ever.
And then you have Bucky alongside it.
And that scene where he doesn't turn into the Winter Soldier will forever, like that. The first time we see Sam in the cap suit, and whenever he takes Isaiah Bradley to his shrine in the Captain America Museum, oh my God, dude. Oh my fucking God. Like, I was like the Falcon and the Winter Soldier it stands as, for me, I know I said WandaVision's the most enjoyable. The Falcon and the Winter Soldier stands as the best MCU show we've got.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh my God. Like, that last episode just by itself is like,
God, the ending
is so good. It is gold. Like
that song they play On and On by Curtis Harding, and it's just like things are just happy at the end of that series, and it's like
Captain America can fly. Like, and he's gonna wield Mjolnir. Probably. I hope. Can you imagine a Cap flying around throwing Mjolnir too? Like, and bouncing it and you bounce off the oh, come on, dude. Oh, do you think he's wielding Mjolnir?
It'll be a while. It'll be a while before he does. But because
he's gonna have to go on like a Steve Rogers, like a.
The thing is that Endgame came out 8 or 9 years after the first Avenger. Now, Sam Wilson became Captain America 2 years after Endgame.
Okay,
so
yes.
He can't do it again for a while, or else it's going to be like, well, come on. Like, we just saw this.
But Cap could do it his whole life. There was never a moment, like, in Cap's life where he probably couldn't lift Mjolnir, Like, he's always been able to do it since, confirmed since Age of Ultron.
Probably even when he was a scrawny boy.
Even before, yeah, he could do it. So like, if that's true, Sam Wilson will be like, well, if Cap could do it, I might at least try. It'd be like, it's like it's the obvious thing to like.
Important note:
Thor is
Sam Wilson's not in that Age of Ultron scene, and he's in Age of Ultron at other points.
No, but like he saw Cap wield Mjolnir in Endgame, and then he's like off, and he's gonna be like, "Oh, I'm Cap now. I try." But
no, yeah, I get that. I'm saying like there has to be a purpose as to why Sam Wilson was in other scenes in that movie, including other scenes in that apartment in Age of Ultron, and was not a part of trying to lift it. I don't think.
Oh. Do you think they knew? Did they know from his inception that he was going to be Cap eventually?
I think they had to know it was a possibility. Sam Wilson in the comic books was Cap before.
Damn. I never even thought about that. That like since all the holy shit.
He's introduced in The Winter Soldier.
That's insane.
In 2013. Here, let me look up when Sam Wilson's first appearance as Captain America. Let's see what that is. When that is.
I mean, okay. What would be interesting is if he goes to try, but it doesn't work. But then I don't know. I don't know what I'd like more. Like because I don't. It would make sense that he already could wield it. You know, like
It is also interesting that Sam Wilson did not become Captain America until an issue of Captain America in 2014. So The Winter Soldier would have been out, but Age of Ultron wouldn't have been. So it's interesting. And it's also, interestingly enough, also looking into this publication history, Samuel Thomas Wilson, known as the Falcon, was the first African-American superhero in mainstream comic books. First appeared in Captain America 117 in September of 1969.
Holy shit. Wow.
Yeah. And upon this whole conversation, I've swayed further and further into the Falcon and Winter Soldier's camp. I love that show to death. Captain Marvel, like I hate to see it go. But the Falcon and the Winter Soldier is just special, you know.
What if Bucky can wield it now? Like that he's healed and then there's depth. Like, okay, there's going to be a moment like between, do you think? No way, dude. That would be so cute though.
It'd be so cute. Here's my thing is that like no matter what, I don't think they do it. I don't think either of them will ever lift Mjolnir. Just from a storytelling perspective, like.
But it happens in the comics all the time. Like whoever can, like just somehow they have it, you know, like at some point.
Okay. And here's the thing too. I guess if they were to do it, they wouldn't make a moment of it like they did for Steve's cap. It would just be kind of a thing where like one of them caught Mjolnir and then threw it to the next guy. I don't think that because if you go back into that bag, it just starts to feel cheap. Like, okay, so are we going to do this for literally anybody who can lift Mjolnir? Like,
it'd be really cool if like Thor does the thing where he throws
there's a few characters in the Marvel universe that should be able to lift Mjolnir by the standards that Steve set. You know what I'm saying?
Like, I guess the only people that we know for sure can is Steve, Vision, obviously Thor, Thanos.
And interestingly enough, rewatched Endgame. He can lift it after he said he's gonna wipe out everything and rebuild from an atom.
Okay, but that his intentions are still true, although bad. His intentions are still true.
Then what makes one worthy? Like just
in his
the will to do something.
In his mind, it is made up that if he accomplishes his goal, it will be better for just life. That in his mind, it is made up that it is better for life. And I think that's all it takes is like, I don't know. I don't know if it has to be on goodwill, you know, like it has to be, how does that, you know, then how does that determine?
No, yeah. So, it can't be based on goodwill either because like, obviously, like Thanos could lift it. But another character who I think could and won't, but it would be super cool at some point is Gamora. But for some reason she just has that air of worthiness to her. Oh, and Jane.
Well, yeah.
Jane Foster's about to become Thor, so
that's true. So yeah,
she has to be able to lift Mjolnir. She's one of our confirmed ones now.
I'm gonna make a theory on how Sam Wilson will wield it for the first time, or Bucky. I see this happening to either or. Thor is with them and they're fighting somebody or doing something. Thor is like, hey, catch, or like hang on, like they need to go somewhere far. So like how Thor throws it and Spidey like
Yeah.
webbed it and then like flew with it. Like maybe either Sam Wilson or Bucky will like try to catch it and ride it, but then they will stop it and then crash and then realize that like they weren't being pulled along with it, that they were then wielding it, that like instead of flying along with it, they just grabbed it and then like kind of crash land. But then while crash landing, they realize,
oh shit,
I have Mjolnir and I'm holding it, like I could see that happening, like for one of them.
Yeah.
And maybe that's like a simple way where it's like a big moment, but like not huge, like the turning point in, the war
God,
or
when
whatever.
Captain America, the first time he did that shit, we'll
of
get
the
more of that
hypest
on the other
moments-
side.
oh, yeah.
We'll get more of that on the other side of the bracket. But moving on, because I think we landed on the Falcon and the Winter Soldier for that matchup. We are on to the last set of matchups for this side of the bracket. We've got a 4 seed versus a 5 seed in Spider-Man 2 from 2004, starring Tobey Maguire with Alfred Molina as Doc Ock, against 5 seed X-Men First Class.
The last remaining X-Men movie.
And sadly, it'll see its demise.
Yeah.
As Spider-Man 2 fucking slaps.
Yeah. We had this conversation about, the sequel being able to be a better movie than the origin because you don't have to establish all these things. And I think this holds true with Tobey's movies. I do think the second one is just critically a better movie. I just think I like William Dafoe and like I like the idea of one more, but like the better movie is the second one.
God, and the action sequences in Spider-Man 2 are just special, dude. And knowing the eventual impact and influence it has on Spider-Man No Way Home obviously enhances it quite a great deal as well. And it was already standalone, able to beat this movie, but now that we have a full, like, now we know they go back to that reality and it's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Like Doc Ock isn't gonna die, and
do you
Toby's
think
gonna be
though?
okay. No, that's what's interesting is that, like, does Doc Ock just go back and he's like, shit, I still have to bury this thing?
Because the thing is that William or the Goblin, they all mentioned that like they were about to die, then they were here. So they were like William Dafoe, like Spidey was about to backflip over the glider and it was about to, that's where he came out of. And like, if he's just going right back in, does like the history change, or like does he just pop right back into where he was, but with all of the thought and like so yeah, and like it makes the like obviously they did not plan that.
But like if he goes,
way, but like
it's like
it makes it hilarious.
Yeah,
if that is true, like if.
In the spirit of the movie's point, I'm gonna go ahead and assume that they found a way to figure that out. They won't go back and just die immediately. But because I love the idea that like back in Toby's reality, like Toby returns to being the 40-year-old man he is, and he goes back to find a 60-year-old Octavius doing his thing and just being a esteemed scientist balling out like as an old man. And he's like, and like you have an X-Men Days of Future Past moment where he's like, welcome back, friend. Like dope. Like you're here now.
I can't. Man, we're just at like the tip of the iceberg now, which is insane. Like No Way Home's kind of like the tip of the iceberg, and like it's just starting.
But X-Men First Class, also a solid movie. One of my favorite X-Men movies, and it has a good chance against pretty much anybody on this list. But it had to go against a Spider-Man movie.
It's tough.
And a Spider-Man movie is just not something you're going to get past, I don't think.
Unless
you're another Spider-Man movie.
Or you're Logan.
Or you're Logan. Because the next matchup we've got here is a 1 seed versus an 8 seed in Logan versus The Amazing Spider-Man, starring Andrew Garfield. And God, The Amazing Spider-Man's good. It's good, and I enjoy it, but Logan is top 2, top 3 comic book movies of all time. Like, this is...
It's a yo, what the fuck? Right? No.
Yeah, that's a yo, what the fuck? Oh,
or is
no,
it the very, very top
fuck yes.
of hell yes, that's right.
Fuck yes, it's the tippy top. More of that on patreon.com/CoroBloom.
I mean, yeah. I mean, you know, we talk about Logan all the time. I think this is one that just is kind of known. And usually, you know, just wide accepted opinions of movies isn't like the best thing, but like this one, it's just true. It's just fact that this movie's goated.
Yeah, it's like undeniably the case. Like, you watch this movie, and especially if you've grown up with Hugh Jackman's Wolverine as like an iconic figure in Marvel, as X-Men came out the year I was born. And my entire life, Hugh Jackman was Wolverine. So this send-off, it's like
Tony Snap, basically, you know? Like,
it's a better send-off than Tony Snap. Like objectively, this is a better conclusion to any story than anything the MCU provided for Captain America or Tony. Like, I mean, Tony's was momentous and it was a cultural moment, and there are other reasons that it's great. But from a pure storytelling perspective, Logan is as perfectly executed as it gets as far as a character send-off is concerned. I think it'd be dope as fuck if they did Clint Barton like this.
I could see that. Could see I mean, he's already kind of redeemed in a way. Like, he's on the road now, you know? Yeah. So I guess he still has some work to do, but I hope he stays as just like an advisor, basically.
Yeah.
And that he really doesn't join the action. Maybe he you know, him and Kate maybe have like a few moments together where he's just getting too old for this stuff. Shit. Yeah, maybe he's just he becomes the arrow maker. You know, he's the and he just becomes like Tony, obsessed with just making these
tinkering.
Yeah, all these arrows, but
no, yeah, Logan's Logan, and The Amazing Spider-Man is solid. And as far as Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man is concerned, he's my favorite. You know, I love watching this dude as Spider-Man, and this movie was, like I said on the Round of 64, I watched this and I was like, oh shit, this movie made me feel when I was 12 more like I could be Spider-Man than any other movie made me feel like I could be Spider-Man. And that's important in a Spider-Man movie. You know, like at least to me, it's like, you know what? Yeah, that made me feel good, and that's what a Spider-Man movie is ultimately supposed to do.
The best swinging in any Spidey movie too. They got
rivaling The Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Okay, well, I'm talking of the universes. Andrew, Sony, they got swinging down in the video games, and they know what it's about. But yeah, I mean, sad that it had to face Logan. But
Logan's just too strong.
It's just the nature of how this is going to be. We're going to have a lot harder matchups in the future. So
this next round already looking over is like, oh my fucking God, how do we even decide on this? But yeah, I go Logan over The Amazing Spider-Man. And since we're here, I don't think this needs to be a two-parter. I think we can push through, probably knock this out in an hour and 30, hour and 45-minute episode. We've had longer. So I think we might as well push through with the round of 32 and on to the other side of the bracket.
Here we go.
We've got a 1 seed versus a 9 seed in Avengers Infinity War versus Thor Ragnarok. And as we did just have a 1 versus 1 versus 8 with 1 versus 8 and Logan versus The Amazing Spider-Man. This is a 1 versus 9 in Infinity War versus Thor Ragnarok, and the margin here is 50 times wider for me.
Yeah.
I don't have any qualms moving on past Thor Ragnarok for Infinity War here. Like, I felt a little bit of a tug at the heartstrings for Amazing Spider-Man, but Thor Ragnarok can see the fucking door when it comes to Infinity War, baby. This movie's just too fucking good.
I guess there will be some people out there that will be like, this is close. You know, there are people that love Thor Ragnarok that much.
Yeah.
But you can't deny if you saw this movie in theaters and you haven't, and it wasn't spoiled for you, it was like one of the most mind-blowing like movie theater experiences of all time. Like, and like, I don't know if anything, you know, other than like a No Way Home or like something of that occasion will ever like do that again. That it's insane what they did. And you know, Thor Ragnarok was fun, but it didn't have anything that was literally mind blowing and left everyone silent as they left the movie theater and like what just happened. Like,
and it had a tragic streak. Asgard is destroyed. The people of Asgard, a lot of them are dead. Odin is dead.
And then half of the universe is dead.
Yep.
Along with half of your favorite heroes.
Yeah.
And
they were like, all but the 6 OG Avengers. They all make it through somehow.
Had to, you know.
Them, Rocket, and War Machine. They're safe.
There's something about like knowing that Thanos's like New York attack was a fixed point in time. Like, that Avengers team is a fixed point in time. Like, just like Doctor Strange is fixed to become the Sorcerer Supreme. So, like, maybe there's something to, like, that they were the only ones, like they had to live, like, in order, because in this universe, if they wanted humans to live and not have Thanos win, then these specific Avengers needed to live.
I have a question. Since you, you know what? I'll save it for a couple matches down when Doctor Strange is relevant again. But yeah, you're right. Like, it is interesting knowing that, like, that is fixed. This is something that has to happen so that this can happen, and then it is also fixed. Apparently, was
the Avengers thing fixed, or was it just another event? Actually, now I think I might be remembering it wrong. I think it I don't know. I don't know if
actually no. See, the thing is that What If really like confuses the fuck out of me, because obviously the multiverse is open now, so like any of those fixed points in time can be changed. Like, that doesn't matter anymore.
But does it? Because like, if Doctor Strange doesn't become the Sorcerer Supreme, then like that is multiversal wide. You know, like it has to happen in every universe in order for the multiverse to stay existing. So like,
then why is Captain Carter able to be the first Avenger instead of
Steve? That's not a fixed. That's not like
the formation of that Avengers team is fixed, and Captain America. Steve Rogers,
so yeah, I don't think I think I just misspoke whenever I said that the Avengers thing was a fixed point. I think it was just another event.
Oh, gotcha.
I think it was like, or whatever. Like, you know, like whenever Asgard was destroyed, that was a category whatever, and then like the New York attack was just like a lesser whatever. I think. Instead of it being a fixed point.
TVA just fucks everything, dude. Like, it makes everything so goddamn confusing. Cause like, what? They just got a lot of explaining to do over there. Like, how they organized all of these timelines to have the same events, but they don't have to be the same people necessarily. They just have to be the same events. They don't have to look the exact same or act the exact same, but the same things have to happen.
It's like they're building all of this very logic based, you know, like stuff. Like, whenever they explain how all of this works, like, they will have to follow that logic like everywhere. So they're kind of, you know, in this balance where they don't want to give up too much control for like story purposes, obviously. Right. But like, they need to have something where it's satisfying enough to make sense and be a good story. So it's like, how do they find that? Like, this is such a complicated like thing just in general, and then finding a way to make it a good story and tie in with everything is just madness. Like,
and with that, let's go on to this next one with a 4 versus a 5 in Spider-Man 2002, with starring Tobey Maguire versus Avengers Endgame. Now, Loki gets penalized in Loki by the TVA for grabbing one of those Infinity Stones and dipping. It is apparently a fixed moment in time that the Avengers go back in time and do this. Like, put the Infinity Stones back and do all this, like, take the Infinity Stones, and then, like, that is part of the loop, like, because that's before the multiverse breaks.
I don't think so. I think, one, it's only a loop for that one universe, right? Because Ultron said that there's stones per universe, you know?
Right.
And
but then
the multiverse breaking or whatever, it still existed before then. You know, it's existed for all time, right?
Right.
So, like,
the way the TVA works, it makes it seem like every moment is a fixed moment in time.
I don't
but
think
then
so.
We've also gotten certain things pointed out to be fixed moments in time. But if they're not fixed moments in time, why do they get wiped from existence if they don't follow the path?
I think the only confirmed fixed point in time that we know of is Doctor Strange becoming the Sorcerer Supreme. I think that's the only one that is confirmed, fixed.
Gotcha.
I think, like, the term fixed point was used in Loki somewhere, but I do not remember what it was for. But, like, I don't know I don't know what that fixed point is in Loki, but I think there is one in there.
Now I'm thinking, like, Loki probably, like, the fixed points only matter now that the multiverse is open. They didn't matter at all when the multiverse was closed.
That distinction, like, the multiverse being open and closed, like, does that change the rules of, you know, like, what does that actually change? The thing that it just lets people know that it exists, you know, and, like, travel is possible between universes, but, like, that doesn't change the rules of how universes function, right? Like,
right. But, like, the thing for me that I cannot, like, regardless, the way that we're talking is that the multiverse obviously existed in Loki and with the TVA, like, all throughout these events, all in the background, always existing. If Kang the Conqueror, He Who Remains, had to organize the entire multiverse into a timeline, there's no way that they are individually monitoring these timelines for any random variance that might be occurring from any random timeline they've created. Like, he probably created an organized timeline with organized events, and if they got off of that organization, the multiverse opened. They got off that organization, the multiverse opened.
I don't know.
Are there any, like, there are only a few fixed points now?
Saying that there's no way that he's just checking for every little variant, like, the TVA is infinite. So, like, they can just brute force it. The TVA is infinite. So, like,
I guess I still just can't process, like, how the multiverse is even able to be organized.
Exactly.
Like, that's ultimately the problem.
We have no idea. Like, we have zero idea. And however they're going to make that make sense to even, like, to the general public, like, for people to grasp, oh yeah, here's this infinite thing that your mind can't grasp anyways, but try to for the story, you know, like, I don't know. I'm trusting them though. I think
they'll. The thing for me is that, like, right now when I talk about things, I have to, like, in the MCU, I have to disregard Loki. If we're talking about the mechanics of the universe, I can't think about Loki, or else what we just did happens every single time. Every single time. If I think about the events of Loki tying into anything else, I'm like, well, shit, how do we even explain this now? Like, I'm just afraid that that's ultimately what Loki is going to be as a whole. Like just kind of like a we can't even really regard that in terms of the
not
function
even
of this
in
universe.
a timeline. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like it's just
It just is. But damn. So, Spider-Man versus Avengers Endgame. For me, what is a better film? It's Spider-Man.
actually
Yeah.
okay. I mean, obviously, like Infinity War is better than Endgame, but like Endgame isn't bad. You know, like it is
Spider-Man's not bad.
okay. Do you okay? Whenever I was thinking about this the other day about Tobey's Spider-Man, and I really wanted to get honest with myself. I'm like, do I love this movie? Do I actually think this movie is good? You know, like, is this actually a good movie, or do I just love Tobey Maguire that much that I can't see a fault in this movie? You know, like, and I don't know which one of these movies would I rather watch? Probably still Spider-Man, but like, what movie has like the higher peaks of enjoyment is definitely Endgame. Like,
Oh, that's certain. But I'd also argue, like, narratively, the better story put to paper was Spider-Man. Avengers Endgame is great for a whole other slate of reasons. Like it's great because it's the culmination of 12 years of movies all coming into one, and it's like and don't get me wrong, you're absolutely right. The highs in Endgame 50 times higher than the highs in Spider-Man. Like you get infinitely more enjoyment out of Endgame in certain moments than you do Spider-Man. And, you know, it is kind of funny whenever we do it this way because I bounce back and forth between the critical review and which I just like more. And this one's tough because one of them has the critical review and has the enjoyment. You know, it's probably Endgame. Like, it's
insane that a Spider-Man 2 song came on the soundtrack playlist that has 1,500 songs. It's fate. It's letting me know that I am not overhyping Spider-Man. I do not just love
a message
Tobey
from the
much.
universe.
Yes.
No, I'd say that Avengers Endgame. It's not as bad as people have dismissed it to be at points. Still one of the more enjoyable movies. But if I'm taking like pound for pound, narratively, what is the best story? What do I get the most enjoyment out of it? Obviously, Endgame has higher highs, but I've loved Spider-Man since I was 2. I mean,
I'm gonna watch Spider-Man 10 times before I watch Endgame once.
I'm a rewatch Spider-Man before I rewatch Endgame. And it's like zero doubt about that. Like, yeah. If someone's like, would you rather me turn on Spider-Man from 2002 or Avengers Endgame? I'm going to ask you to turn on Spider-Man 2002. Like,
you really have to strap in for Endgame. That's like, it's chunk.
Almost a 3-hour movie.
Yeah. And it's not even like a Godfather. It's like, whenever you're just watching The Godfather, it's like, yeah, this is a 3 hours that's like just worth it for sure. But like Endgame, you're kind of like, well, there's about moments probably like an hour of this movie that I just don't need to watch. You know, like, I don't know. Like, yeah, the more I talk about it, the more I'm comfortable passing along our good old boy past.
Spider-Man moving on past Avengers Endgame. And I know this isn't supposed to be part of the decision. Neither of them are probably making it past the next round.
Yeah. I did.
I mean, I don't know. We'll talk about it, but I don't know.
It's true. I mean, I don't
want to spoil anything.
We do have 3 Avengers matchups like back to back to back right here, which is kind of crazy. Because I mean, and so far it's 1-1. You know, the Avengers movies have won and lost. But it makes sense that it lost to a Spider-Man movie, if it's gonna lose.
Yeah,
I guess if an Avengers movie could lose as well, could lose to one of the best solo Marvel movies of all time.
And with that, let's go to our 3 versus our 6 and Doctor Strange versus Avengers Age of Ultron. Now, I do think the solo movie wins again here. Doctor Strange is too strong of a movie to not move on. Age of Ultron's really fucking good, though. Like, I like Age of Ultron more than I like Endgame.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of like, and again, I'll rewatch Age of Ultron before I rewatch Endgame. Frankly, on a personal note, I rewatch Avengers Age of Ultron before I rewatch Doctor Strange. However, there are reasons outside of just how good the movie is and how much enjoyment I get out of it there. Doctor Strange just has really low moments that make me really sad. While Avengers Age of Ultron has a couple of those, but not nearly to the extent that Doctor Strange has them. Like, I'm watching the first 40 minutes of Doctor Strange going, fuck, man. God damn. Like, shit. Like, it just like keeps happening. And like, that shit's sad. He's got a sad origin story. And like,
usually heroes do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess usually they do. But yeah. I guess Peter's isn't that. Yeah, like Spider-Man's not that sad.
I mean, Uncle Ben and his parents are gone.
True. That is part of his origin. I'm just thinking of like how he was created, basically.
I get you.
But I
like
guess the Uncle Ben, that is part of his creation. That is part of his origin. Like that seems like a fixed point in time. If we're on that subject again, like.
Oh, that reminds me of what I was going to say with Doctor Strange a little bit ago. But then we ended up talking for 20 longer minutes than I thought we would. Doctor Strange. So you said the fixed point in time. Are we willing to say that it is not him becoming Sorcerer Supreme and it is him finding the mystic arts?
I think that's what the Ancient One actually says.
Because he's not the Sorcerer Supreme.
Because they say it in the What If episode, right? That's where we get it. Is the What If when the Ancient One comes back and was like, yeah, no, you have to become the Sorcerer Supreme. It's a fixed point in time. I think maybe that's all she said, not specifically like, no. I think she did say like you had to find the way of the mystic arts. Like it's just fixed that had to happen. I think, yeah. Well, I think it's everything. I think the most important distinction is that he has to become the Sorcerer Supreme, and in order to become the Sorcerer Supreme, he has to find the way of the mystic arts. So, like,
yeah, okay. So
the most important part of it is that he becomes the Sorcerer Supreme, but he still hasn't.
That's the thing, but also the multiverse is broken open. So, like,
okay, so maybe the rules do change then.
That's
Okay.
I was just like, if we're operating under the assumption that Doctor Strange, the fixed point is him becoming the Sorcerer Supreme, I guess we haven't reached that yet, technically. But if it's a fixed point in time, it would have already passed when he was blipped, I think.
Oh, wait. If the evil Doctor Strange knows that it's a fixed point in time for him to become the Sorcerer Supreme, and he makes that not happen, the multiverse opens up and he can do what he wants with it. So maybe he made it not happen and made Wong Sorcerer Supreme so that it did not happen. And
so now we're going with the grand theory that the person responsible for the multiverse opening, period, would be Doctor Strange himself.
It's got to be Kang. I mean, well, I don't know, because Kang was content.
Kang can just organize it after the fact.
Yeah, so he was like, it's not Kang, I don't think. It would make sense.
I don't think Kang is responsible for the opening of the multiverse. I just know he's responsible for the organizing it after it was opened.
I think it's either like a Uatu or like a Doctor Strange. It has to be someone that is like multiversal or like an Ultron, like it has to be someone who affected something multiversally, not just like, and that's not easy to do.
No.
Yeah, I don't know. I never even thought about that. Like, if maybe like that's their way of telling us, like, yeah, these fixed point in times are like not fixed anymore. And that balance of story or whatever is really not a balance anymore because they can just do whatever the fuck they want. If
Right.
it's that way, if the multiverse just being open means that they can literally do whatever they want, then there's no logic to that. It's just literally infinite.
Whatever happens goes.
Damn, man. Yeah, I don't know. May the 4th or 6th or 7th can't come fast enough, or 5th. Anywhere from May 4th to the 7th can't come fast enough.
That's going to be a special time.
But yeah, sorry to my boy, Ultron.
You want to send him off?
Yeah, you just, it's, this guy was the one who helped defeat you, in after your prime, after you killed everyone. You almost won multiversally too.
Finally. Silence.
But this guy, this was the one who gave you the trouble. That protection spell really, really fucked with you. And I mean, it just makes sense that he's the one to send you out. Can't wait till you come back though. And break this shit all wide open and give us a Watu and everything. So
just break the shit. Just break the shit. But yeah, Doctor Strange over Avengers Age of Ultron feels like the natural course of action. With that, let's get on to the next one where we've got a 2 versus a 7 in Black Panther versus The Amazing Spider-Man 2.
I guess we got to keep saying it over and over. If a Spider-Man movie is going to lose, it's going to lose to probably one of the best solo movies of all time that Marvel has. So
right.
We're on a really good run here of these solo movies. I mean, it's Black Panther.
It's just like, I love The Amazing Spider-Man 2, but like it's Black Panther. Like, and we've raved about Black Panther arguably more than any other movie or character on this podcast. If you direct your attention to the Marvel character bracket, you can go ahead and find out who won over there. Spoilers alert. Someone in this very matchup.
Whoop, 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 whoop.
Whoop, 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 whoop.
Oh, like that.
Bombay.
That is like, yeah, hearing that, like, it's just like everyone's instantly in. Like, you just know, like, Black Panther. You hear the whoop, whoop, or you hear the bum, bum.
God, the first time in
like,
Infinity War, I was watching it, and they were like, I think it's Chris Evans. It's Captain America goes like, I know where we can go. And then like, whoop, 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 whoop. And you're like, bum, 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 bum. Like, they start playing that shit, and you're like, oh, yeah. Have you seen the TikTok trend where it's like an audience reaction to this moment in theater, and it's like fucking like Dora the Explorer doing something? But that was like dead ass like how I felt when Black Panther, like that first transition to Wakanda in Infinity War. I was like, yes, because that came out a couple months after Black Panther, and I was just so high on that movie. And when that happened, it was like, oh, yes.
Yeah, I don't know. We can't say enough good things about this movie. Like, it hopefully will be a timeless movie,
We've been talking, and there's like 3 movies I want to rewatch now.
I know.
Like,
I'm rewatching every Marvel movie anyways. So
right.
I'll get there eventually. But man, yeah, we got a good universe, we definitely got a good universe going. We live in a good time.
What it's to be alive, but no, yeah, The Amazing Spider-Man 2 deserves some credit too. We'll send it off. The most criminally underrated Spider-Man movie there is, for my money.
We love you, Andrew.
I love you, Andrew. I really do. You are my fave. But
I wish they would have said it back.
I do wish they would have said it back. That kind of sucks.
Maybe they will. Maybe plan that for later. It was improvised. Cute. What a guy.
Cute.
What a guy.
What a guy. I love that guy. I love you guys. No, yeah, he's just a great actor. I love that dude, and introducing Jamie Foxx as Electro and adapting one of the most horrific moments in Peter Parker's lore with Gwen Stacy's death. That was some shit. I wish we could have gotten the conclusion to that saga, and maybe we will. But I really enjoyed The Amazing Spider-Man 2, and the ending it does provide for that anyhow is still all right. I can still live with it. Like Gwen dies and he's not Spider-Man for like a while, like months. And
apparently becomes a menace,
Yeah. And see that was one of the things in No Way Home that I was like, huh.
Interesting. Now bit of information.
Yeah. Now you have to go back and finish that story, or else I'm not going to be satisfied. Because frankly, I was okay with the idea that he made his peace with Gwen's death at the end of The Amazing Spider-Man 2. Maybe not made his peace with it, but like was able to move on and become Spider-Man again, and was able to go back to doing Spider-Man shit. If I find out that the end of that movie was actually him going, you know what? I'm done. I'm gonna fuck these hoes up. Like he's actually murdering Rhino with that fucking sewer plate at the end. Like it's not
in Spider-Man, like he has super strength, which we like kind of often forget that he's like really strong, like one of the strongest in the universe, like pound by pound, which is kind of insane. And like whenever we see Tom start to not pull his punches, like he punches this like Cap shield, like the Statue of Liberty one, and like
like it makes a dent in it,
like a big ass dent, like not just like his fist, it was like a crater, dude, like
this man held together a giant fairy. Like I saw some stuff online that was like, what is stronger, Norman Osborn's Green Goblin formula or Captain America's Super Soldier Serum? Who has greater strength? And the consensus was Norman Osborn's Green Goblin serum is the more powerful because he matches Spider-Man, and Spider-Man is more powerful than Captain America. But if the MCU were to adapt a Captain America versus Green Goblin fight in terms of the super soldier Steve Rogers versus Green Goblin, they probably wouldn't let that happen. It would probably look pretty even though Green Goblin's probably got a little bit of an edge on him, which I just thought was interesting.
I never thought about that, like as just the serums, like it's.
Oh no, yeah, I was like, what an interesting line of thought to consider, like Green Goblin's formula versus the Super Soldier Serum. Like that's just an interesting little thought experiment.
Imagine giving someone like Cap that formula, where on one half of their brain there's Steve Rogers, the most perfect just human being ever, and then on the other half it's the menace that just wants to kill Spider-Man. Get him to join him.
I've read stuff that it's funny that like at the end of Spider-Man No Way Home, like Norman Osborn's like, thank you, Peter. I'm gonna go back to my reality, and instead of being the murderous Green Goblin, I'm gonna go design weapons for the United States military. It's like yeah, kind of forgot what he was doing.
Yeah, and he did say like, yeah, if you ever need a job, that's true. Oh damn. Yep. Oh well. Maybe he's a better guy when he goes back, and he's like,
no. That's not the. It's not the point of that movie's message, but like, hopefully he goes back and has the same sort of Iron Man revelations that that Iron Man had. I'm like, oh, maybe I shouldn't do this anymore. Nevertheless, that's why Black Panther beats The Amazing Spider-Man 2. Somehow we got there. I mean, Spider-Man connection. There's something there. But yeah, Black Panther's just a fucking great movie. So with that, on to the next. We've got a 2 seed versus a 7 seed in Daredevil, the Netflix original series, versus Black Widow. And I love Black Widow.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I really do.
It's just sad. Sad he had to go up against the best Marvel show of all time. Is it better than WandaVision?
I think critically better. I have more fun watching.
Is it critically better than Falcon and Winter Soldier?
Oh yeah. Like I think it's like far and away critically better than any Marvel show. But regardless, I don't really hold it in much higher esteem just because I enjoy them all so greatly. You know, like WandaVision, The Falcon and Winter Soldier, and Daredevil are all top tier Marvel content. You know, like they're all on the same level in terms of how much I'm enjoying them. But yeah, I got to go Daredevil over Black Widow here, and it sucks because I love the Black Widow movie, and like we're getting to that point now where it's just gonna suck saying goodbye to everything. Because Black Widow is one of the more underrated movies there is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm curious on how like that movie will be looked at like in 5 years. Like if like there will be like a revamp of a lot of people watching it, or like maybe when more like Yelena stuff happens, like people will go back and watch it and like
it's her origin movie. So
it'll be interesting, but yeah, I mean it's not going to beat out Daredevil. So
no, yeah, it's just not, and I don't know that it requires a ton more discussion. If you want some more Black Widow content, I again direct you to the Marvel Character Tournament where she made it pretty deep, in fact, along with the Black Panther. But yeah, Daredevil takes the cake over Black Widow, and it's funny coming off of Daredevil, watching that series and the treatment we gave him in that Marvel character bracket, he would not have gone down in the round of 64. Like zero doubt in my mind.
Unless he was matched up against, I don't know.
He was matched up against Quicksilver. He should have beat Quicksilver.
Wait, he was actually in
our Marvel character tournament, yeah.
Oh my God, did I just forget about him and I just didn't give him like a...
well, yeah, that was the thing.
I think I just
never
watched like Silver Surfer, like the cartoon, like right then and there.
It was Quicksilver.
Oh, wait, what?
Yeah. So, and I was trusting you with that decision because I'd never seen Daredevil.
Oh, that's my B then. Damn.
You're like, damn, don't know what to say.
Like, what? Maybe I was just like high on like an Evan Peters or like
I think that's ultimately what pushed us through, is that we liked the Age of Ultron adaptation and stuff. Like, they did a pretty good job with Quicksilver, and we just didn't have enough on Daredevil, so that was it.
Damn. I did my boy dirty.
Coming off the Daredevil series, that man's a top 2 seed for me. And I think he was like a 7 in that bracket.
Damn. Only if I could go back in time. You know, it's said and done though, you know. I mean, ultimately I don't think it would have. I don't know. That actually could have changed a whole
shaking
lot.
Things up a little bit.
Yeah, like I don't know, because Widow got there pretty like.
I think she was a 6.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I don't know. That could have been interesting. Damn.
Interesting to think about. But yeah, Daredevil moves on past Black Widow. With that, on to the next, we got a 3 versus a 6, and Captain America: The Winter Soldier versus Deadpool. And this is a fun one. Definitely a couple movies I never would have compared otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
And it's Captain America: The Winter Soldier. Deadpool's good, and I love Deadpool. Like, it's so funny, and it's such a great introduction for that character into like a cinematic universe. But Captain America: The Winter Soldier is just that's a special movie.
Boy Bucky.
That boy Bucky.
Yep. You know, we'll mention it
again.
Shit. You know, one of the only movies I can just say two people's name. You know, two people's names just back to back, which is funny.
Captain America: The Winter Soldier.
I guess it doesn't really roll if they just went Steve Rogers and then Bucky Barnes. You know, whatever. But and I guess Cap is kind of a Winter Soldier too, like coming out of the ice. So it's like, you know, it's like both Bucky and Cap are the Winter Soldier. So like, you know, but yeah, a beautiful movie. And I criminally downplayed it in our tier list making, and I'm sorry to this movie. It's one of the all-time greats in the MCU. So,
oh yeah, no doubt. And Deadpool's great, but it's just, I think Deadpool 2 is even better than Deadpool, and Deadpool 2 is not going to beat Captain America: The Winter Soldier, I don't think. So, Deadpool's not getting quite there, although it is fucking hilarious.
Would be cool for a Deadpool Daredevil. like you have like I don't
Some
know,
sort of team up there.
like like they're just kind of like the same but very opposite characters. Like they both like
Right.
have like the ninja and like swords and like whatever, but like very opposite people.
Oh, couldn't
But
be more opposite. But yeah, anything with those heroes in red. Give me Deadpool, Spider-Man, and Daredevil all in the same shit, and I'll be just fine. But yeah,
ooh.
with that, on to the next. We got a 4 versus a 5, and What If versus Eternals. I'm interested here. This is a big one for you, Joe.
This is a big one for me because I
couple of your top 2 for 2021, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, this What If is aside from No Way Home.
Aside from No Way Home, I mean,
What If before No Way Home? What If was my favorite piece of Marvel content that they released. I love the concept. I think they executed it perfectly, in a way that no one expected, and I got exactly what I wanted. So that show ticked every box for me. I love it. Eternals, I saw it 3 times within the first couple days. Like, I loved that movie. That movie was just awesome. I loved the characters. I loved the found family aspect. The characters just worked so well together. And the story was really intriguing to me. And it opened up the MCU pretty,
massively.
a whole lot. So I don't think Eternals had the same impact on me that What If did. If I had to decide, I think it's What If for me. But I don't know. A lot of, Eternals just coming out on Disney Plus not too long ago. A lot of people are watching it for the first time, and a lot of people are loving it. I'm seeing a lot of love for it, which is good. Because
a lot more love for it now than it got in November when it came out.
Because I don't understand, like, it already was hated, like, before it came out. Like, it seemed. And people were just like, the worst movie Marvel's ever made, blah, blah, blah. And, like, it just doesn't make sense.
Fathom how one might think that.
It just doesn't make sense if you actually watch the movie. So, I mean, I don't know. This is pretty close. For me, it's What If, but I could see how Eternals could also pull this off.
Yeah, for me, the more enjoyable experience was Eternals, but I think there's something that the movie theater provides for me in comparison to a TV show on such an epic movie that it, like, grandiose in design, like, it's just massive. So, like, it's awesome to see that in theater. But What If week to week was special. Like, I had a really fun time watching What If, and I actually just rewatched a couple episodes last night. Couldn't fall asleep. Turned on What If Captain Carter were the first Avenger. Let it roll into What If T'Challa was Star-Lord, and just, like, let those 2 episodes play back to back. And I remember just being like, fuck, man. I remember when this show was premiering, and I was like, yeah, this is going to be awesome.
Like, there's so many lines in What If, like, that are just so good. Like, I thought you were more than the sword and the shield. Turns out I'm a pretty good dancer too. And then like, boom, like, you have all these lines that like, if you're watching What If, you're pretty deep in the Marvel lore. You know every story, like, a lot about Marvel probably if you're watching What If.
At least if you're getting everything you can be out of it.
And those moments they put in there, like, one-liners that have so much backstory behind them, like, that you have to, like, put so many things together, but you can just do instantly because, I don't know, like, I love that show. Like, it brings out, like, what I love about Marvel the most in every episode. And it's like a constant reminder of previous callbacks. It's just like a fan service show, basically. At the same time, it being just like a good story. Turns out it has a story,
Yeah,
So,
and the only gripe I ever had with What If, and it didn't even come until the finale, was that Gamora, daughter of Thanos, was, like, advertised to be a big part of the show, and then was a tiny part of the finale. I really hope we get more Gamora, daughter of Thanos, in What If. Gamora is just, for me, one of the most underrated characters in the MCU, and I can't wait to see her in whatever form they present us.
The first time I watched it, I really didn't pull out, like, when Uatu called them the Guardians of the Multiverse, but, like, whenever he says that, I think that's their way of saying like we'll see this group again. And
you are the Guardians
Yes.
of the Multiverse. Like, there's not going to be another Guardians of the Multiverse in
Mhm.
season 2 of What If. The multiversal problems in What If season 2 will be solved.
So
by the
hopefully that's our
Guardians
way
of
of
the
getting more
Multiverse.
Gamora. I don't know. I'm so curious on like if season 2 is going to start out as something completely new, then tie back in, with itself and season 1 at the end, or if it's going to like start tying in with season 1, or like
Yeah, it's just an interesting thing they've got going over there.
Mhm.
I'm real excited to see what the fuck they do with the whole MCU animated side of the universe. Like how do you do, like, are we just doing multiversal products in the animated style, or are we eventually going to get direct MCU tie-in shows that are animated, which I would love. Like, I would love that if they gave us, like, I was thinking about this yesterday, like, there were a couple characters that I was just like, if you just give them an animated series, just have them go do their fucking thing. And I can't remember who the two were, but I was just like, oh, that'd be magnificent. I wish I could recall, but
damn. But yeah, I'm curious to like, I don't know, after seeing the evil Doctor Strange and then him showing up in the trailer, like makes me question how much of What If is in the future plans for the MCU. Like how much have they teased already? Because like there's no way they go with the same exact story. Like there's no way that, I don't know. There's no way they, maybe the bare bones of it, like a Watu forming a team and having them save the multiverse. Like I can see that happening, but not in the exact way that we saw it.
Right.
And like I think like this evil Doctor Strange, like will probably have a pretty similar story, trying to save his, his loved one, and then he can't do it at all, and then so he goes off for hundreds of years and absorbs everything. So I see that one happening pretty similarly, just because there's not many other ways to do that one. But
right.
But yeah,
it's interesting thinking about what that evil Doctor Strange is too. Like, are we looking at the same guy we saw at the end of What If in the Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness trailer? I think it'd be kind of convoluted if it was someone else. However, like the costume design is undeniably not exactly the same. So like it's interesting to think about what that might be implying. The thing for me is that I just don't think he'd have a lot of changes of clothes down there in his little pocket dimension.
I guess he can.
Or now he's out.
Well, he has magic, so he can change his.
Oh, that's right. He can do whatever the fuck he wants.
I don't know. I guess have we ever seen him do that? Like change. I guess like Loki, he changed Mjolnir to an umbrella. So like, there's shit out there. But yeah, interesting
I'm with
to see
you.
where it goes.
I think ultimately What If is the winner over Eternals here. I like Eternals. I love Eternals even, but What If is it's aging better and better every day. But yeah. With that, on to our final matchup of the round of 32. We've got the easiest one so far, 1 seed Spider-Man No Way Home versus 8 seed Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Spider-Man No Way Home fucking dominates. Sorry, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Slam dunk. Absolute.
Slam dunk. Yeah, just not even close. Rewatching Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. right now, it's really enjoyable, but it's not on the level Spider-Man No Way Home was. Like, if I had the opportunity, like, say there's 5 seasons of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., I really, really, really enjoy. It's like 20-something episodes of 40 minutes. However much time that is, I'd rather rewatch Spider-Man No Way Home that entire time than watching Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Spider-Man No Way Home is just that good. Like, and that's not a diss on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Spider-Man No Way Home is just that much fun.
It is insane that, like, I've seen it 3 times, but I feel like I've not seen it enough. Like, whenever that thing is out available whenever, wherever it happens to
Instant
be.
buy.
Like, oh my God. Like, there might...
I don't even know if that's going to be available for streaming. Like, I think you might have to buy it digitally, which is what I'm going to do.
I mean,
I think it's
however
like
it happens.
the end of February.
Yeah.
The end of February, I think it's supposed to be available for digital.
Yeah, however
purchase.
it happens, I'm getting it. And any
that's
bonus
interesting.
content that can come with it, like, I'm excited for what bonus content is going to be released along with this movie, because, I mean, I don't know. The behind the scenes has to be pretty cool, you know, of just...
Oh, it has to be epic.
Like,
my thing too is that, like, you know what we might have to do upon that digital release is get together and go ahead and do a live commentary of Spider-Man No Way Home, because that shit's too good. I could talk about it the entire time it's on.
I don't know if this is a rumor, but I saw somewhere that there are more people in Multiverse of Madness than Avengers Endgame. There are more, like, which I just find incredibly hard to believe. But that could just be
one flash on the screen for a little bit.
Exactly. Like, what if it flashes a literal infinite crowd of Spider-Man variants, you know? Or, like, and that counts as, like, you know, does that count? No. But, like, I think they mean, like, actors and actresses that are... I think that's what they're...
I mean,
I don't know,
though. They did 6 weeks of reshoots to get actors in this. Like, my thing is that, like, I'm not going to hold my expectation to be like, oh, we're going to see every single character we've ever seen in a Marvel movie ever. Like, I'm not going to go in with that. Like, I'll go in thinking we will get a few cameos. Because, like, we know that. We know we're getting a few cameos. That's a guarantee. It's the Multiverse of Madness. We got Andrew and Toby for Spider-Man No Way Home. We're getting a couple fucking cameos in Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness at the very least.
Oh, man. What, like, yeah, you know, like, I really hope they do stray away from that. Like you said, like, I hope they don't, like, people don't gravitate towards this cameos have to happen, like, in movies, you know? Because, like, that would really suck if, you know, like, Ant-Man Quantumania rolls around. I guess that's still kind of like a multiversal movie, though, and people would probably still expect people to show up. But, like, I guess, like, let's see, what else is coming up?
Moon Knight.
Or, like, yeah, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. You know, like, I want that just to be the Guardians and Thor. That's it, you know? Like, I don't want to have anyone else show up or want to have the need, you know, to feel like there has to be someone that has to show up, you know? And I hope that that Marvel doesn't, like, just keep doing it to appease everybody and, like, make everybody happy or whatever, but...
I'm hoping Multiverse of Madness is kind of where it begins and ends. Sort of like as far as the widespread cameos go. Like,
what if this is their way of just getting it all done at once? They're like,
I hope it is. Like,
here's X-Men, here's Fantastic Four, here's literally everything, and now we'll get like rolling. Like,
it'll be just it will be pretty epic and unreal if, like, we're in Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness and he opens a portal and, like, Reed Richards' hand, like, stretches through it and you see the Fantastic Four. Like, that would be, like, these are all objectively cool things that would be happening, but they don't, like, they can't happen anywhere else. It has to be here, and it has to be now, and that's it.
The crazy thing about that movie, we somewhat knew where Spider-Man was going.
We don't have a fucking clue. Multiverse of Madness.
Like, is there going to be a fight scene that's, like, way bigger than the Endgame fight scene? You know? Like, is there going to be...
Like, is there a multiversal battle?
Like an Encron Crystal type beat battle, you know? Like, we need everyone to stay alive. Like, we need everyone. Like, this is an infinite war. We thought Infinity War was big, but this is a, like, true, like, it is an infinitely large army versus another infinitely large army, you know?
I just like I can't imagine. And frankly, I don't even think I want that. You know what I'm saying? Like I want Doctor Strange and Wanda to be the heart of the conflict of whatever's happening, and that's it. Granted, you know, I mean, like, I'm open to whatever. I'm not one of the people that'll be disappointed with a movie just because it doesn't do what I wanted it to do. You got to weigh the movie for its own merits and stuff, but
man, what a round! I mean, this is the last round, I think, where there will just be like, oh yeah, that obviously won. Obviously, like
there's
the
no
one
more
seeds and stuff might be still easy, but like, ooh.
It's gonna be tough. Here, let's give the people a peek see as to what's coming next week on the Sweet 16. We've got a 1 seed versus a 4 seed, and Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse versus Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Got a 2 seed versus a 3 seed in Guardians of the Galaxy versus WandaVision. We've got a 2 seed versus a 3 seed in Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings versus The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. And then we've got a 1 seed against a 4 seed in Logan versus Spider-Man 2. And I like that. That's a 1 versus a 4, 2 versus a 3, 2 versus a 3, 1 versus a 4 on that side. Like it's all on the same page. And then on this side, 1 versus 4. Avengers Infinity War versus Spider-Man 2002. 2 versus 3, and Black Panther versus Doctor Strange. 2 versus 3 again in Daredevil versus Captain America the Winter Soldier, and 1 versus 4 in Spider-Man No Way Home versus What If. So, more so than our Marvel character tournament, we are seeing our seeding work to its exact, like, to its effect. This is something that was supposed to happen, usually.
Which I guess makes sense.
It does. You know, we generally knew how we felt about these movies going in.
And characters, that's like a whole different thing. You can interpret characters in so many different ways, and I guess you can movies as well, but
there's only so many ways you can interpret a movie. Like,
oh yeah, man, this is it's gonna get hard, but I'm ready for it.
Yeah, this is gonna be interesting. Interesting indeed. Yeah, those 3 versus 2s. That's where it really gets interesting in the middle there. But yeah, we have a lot to look forward to here in these last couple rounds here. Sweet 16, Elite 8, and we'll probably do our usual finale episode where it's the whole shebang wrapped up. But yeah, with that, I conclude the latest episode of the Penny Bloom podcast. It was I, Colton Robertson, and I was joined by Joseph George. Thank you very much, homie.
Well, thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure.
Oh, of course. And if you would, head to patreon.com/CoroBloom, where you'll find well over 20 hours of exclusive content. And just before this episode, in fact, we recorded a 50-minute Patreon exclusive episode titled Discovery Takes a Day. That'll be out pretty soon. And yeah, we got a whole bunch of content over there for you. If you would, follow on Twitter @PennyBloomPod, where you can vote on this very bracket. Give us your opinion as to who you think should have won these matchups. Follow on Instagram @PennyBloomPodcast. Rate and review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. If you're fucking with me and Joe, join us on our 52-year journey through film. Last Friday was 1973's American Graffiti. This week is 1974's... What the fuck did we cover for 1974? The Godfather Part 2. Yes, The Godfather Part 2. That'll be this Friday. So if you're a Godfather fan, we got a couple episodes for you here, with The Godfather being what we covered in 1972. Yeah, got 52-year journey through film, folks. We're not just Marvel and Star Wars fans. We're talking movies. You know what I'm saying? Every Friday, right here, 1 year after the next. Like I said, this Friday is 1974. The next Friday will be 75, 76, 77, so on and so forth, all the way through the last week of December, where on that last Friday of December, we will be talking a movie from 2022. Very, very exciting. So hell yeah. Remember, peace, love, and bloom. And always praise Keanu Reeves.